Hi lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube journey. Let me welcome you all by saying a wonderful, happy, prosperous, dream-filled new year to all of you. 2020. It's been a journey, hasn't it? And 2021 is, I feel like we've crossed some invisible line in the sand and now we're on the other side of it, and it's just full of possibilities, full of dreams and goals and potential. So it's a very exciting time. I can almost hear like a collective sigh of relief from like everyone all over the world. For me, like it says in the title, it was a transformational year and I felt like it was the best year of my life. I've occupied the planet for a long time, guys, and I've faced many challenges that I thought I would never be able to overcome, hurdles I thought were meant to destroy me, and yet 2020 topped it all, and 2020 kind of asked me the question, what am I all about? What do I have within myself? And these are questions I didn't understand in the beginning, and I kind of just came to realize as I was going through certain experiences that this is what this year was supposed to do. So anyway, it's the first video for the year. I've got my new mug for the year. It's a very happy mug. I'm loving it. So I think, you know, for me this year has been 2020 has been about a few things. So if I were to go through why 2020 was the best year of my life, I'll begin with the fact that it made me completely, utterly comfortable and joyful in my own company. I was always comfortable in my own company because I'm an only child. I didn't have much of a choice growing up. But I think this year with the lockdown especially, if you're in Sri Lanka, you know that it wasn't quite a lockdown like in the rest of the world, where the rest of the world was still allowed to at least go out for essentials, sort of, you know, take a walk outside, do many things really. Whereas in Sri Lanka, it was a complete curfew, which means it is against the law to leave your, you know, residing premises. So I didn't really have human interaction for a few months, and I didn't have anyone coming over. I didn't go out of my house for that many months, and it was taking that only child thing to like 3 levels higher, and it could have easily broken me, I thought. And also in that very same time, I was going through extreme emotional turmoil, and when that happened, I honestly just, you know, one morning made a decision. It was a very thought out, very intentional decision that I was not going to let this experience break me. I could feel it weighing really heavy on me, and I was either going to crumble under that pressure or rise up. And I've always been about rising up. So I decided that this experience was going to elevate me. And so it was a matter of, how do I get comfortable in this space, in my home? How do I make this experience with myself more joyful? It wasn't really about getting through it. For me, I wanted to make it productive. I wanted to make it fruitful, and the word you'll keep hearing me say is joyful. So how I did that was honestly just by tapping into my creativity. I took it very seriously that I wanted to experience the beautiful things in life, the small joys in life, by, you know, making my cup of tea in the evening and not just having it on the bed haphazard. I wanted to have little cookies on a tray, and everything was very laid out. It was beautiful. So, you know, these things that I've accumulated for myself, these pretty things, I noticed that I don't really enjoy them in the way that they should be enjoyed or cherished. And even my home, it's a beautiful home, but do I really enjoy it? Do I really sit and just, you know, take in the beauty of it? If I go out into the balcony and I look around and I hear the birds chirping or I see the greenery, I'm just seeing it most of the time. I'm not absorbing it. I'm not in wonderment. I'm not feeling overwhelmed by it, or joyful by looking at it. So I think I just changed perspective, and because I wasn't running all the time, I was able to kind of just take a breath and just enjoy what my life was. And when I did that, I realized how blessed I was. Yes, of course, emotional turmoil was going hand in hand. It was like my best friend at the time, but I made a decision to indulge in what was positive, not what was negative. So I think that was a huge thing for me, just to be comfortable, to be happy in my own company, to have a schedule, even if it was, even if I was going to spend the whole time at home. I had a schedule still. This is my meditation hour. This is when I, take my Instagram photos and have beautiful, sort of tea moments or coffee moments. Or this is when I was going to read my book. This is when I was going to watch some Netflix. It was very intentionally laid out to be purposeful, to be productive. So I felt like I was more productive in those months than I was ever before, because I was just getting a lot done. And I think another thing is, you kind of get to realize, this is point number 2, you kind of get to realize that people in your life, you place a lot of importance on socializing and social kind of interactions. So they're great, honestly, they're wonderful things to have. People around you, to have a sense of community, friendship, companionship, they're all wonderful. But a lot of the time we're so dependent on it, and a lot of the time we're doing a lot of things to please other people, to look a certain way, to put on a facade. Especially in my industry, I felt like it was very much having one reality and then putting on another reality for the world to see. And removing all of that social stuff, and really tapping into who I was and interacting with people on a very authentic level, for me was just amazing. And that's when I started even doing Instagram stories, or really sharing certain truths about myself, about my learnings. That also really changed me, I think. And another thing is, when you go through hardships and challenges like we all have in the year 2020, the whole world coming to a standstill, facing the same problem, facing the same villain together, I think that will bring into perspective a lot of connections we do have and place so much importance on, versus some that we take for granted. And I realized that, of course, people come into our lives for reasons, seasons, or lifetimes. And I was very much able to distinguish between these in this time frame, in this year, very, very well. The people who are here for lifetimes are the people who, even in those tough times, even when they were going through their own challenges, reached out to you, checked on you, offered to help, asked you for help. Those are the people that really didn't leave your side. And the ones that are there for reasons or seasons, they tend to remove themselves from the equation sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we must be grateful for the reasons that people are here, because that's a learning, that there's a lesson there somewhere. The seasons, there's a purpose there somewhere as well. And lifetimes, those are your people. That's your tribe. I think another thing in the race that we go through called life, another thing we neglect is self-care. It's really about our mental well-being, our mental health. A lot of people talk about it, yes, and a lot of people talk about it when something goes awry, something goes wrong. That's when we really focus on mental health. But I just want to say that what about self-care? What about really focusing on yourself as a part of your day-to-day? I think that's something I also discovered, because when I took a step back and I had the time to kind of meditate or give gratitude or be in the moment, be in the present, be appreciative of everything I have here, not what I want to have. I think I realized then how healing that was on my soul, how much we need that on a day-to-day basis. I think every interaction we have, every circumstance we face sometimes can be good and bad both, of course, but some can be damaging in very like micro levels. We don't quite see that, but they add up, even if it's like a tiny comment, they add up. So we don't heal those wounds on a daily basis. We let them pile up and then we break down. We get burnout, we get drained, we get overwhelmed by life. So I think that self-care part of it was such a huge thing for me to realize that every day we need to do it. It's not when the engine is not performing at its best. It's a service thing. It's something we need to service every single day, and we need to prioritize it. So I think this importance of self-care was something that I found very, very life-changing. Next thing that really changed my life in 2020 was realizing my own power. I think for me, I'm somebody who's relied on this as a tool a lot of my life. I've really, kind of known what I'm capable of, where I'm going, what my journey is, what I have in terms of my highest self. But I think in the journey of life, things got in the way and things kind of crept in and contaminated the purity of my highest self, and that took the better of me, and I think I forgot somewhere down the line just what I was doing and where I was going, and that fortitude, that determination, that unwavering faith in who I am, I think that got unsettled a bit, and I feel like that affected a lot of my potential. It affected a lot of my joy, my inner peace. And what this year did for me was remind me that I have the power to create my life. So instead of going along with the circumstances, if something good happens, we are happy. If something bad happens, then we're unhappy. So changing that cycle of good and bad, good and bad, good and bad, because good and bad are things that we construct for ourselves. Like if we lead from a place of, okay, this is my creation of what my life is like, then you take everything that's given to you in a particular way. You don't get so disheartened so quickly. You don't say, oh, it's such a bad day, because you view things in a different way. You view things in a positive way. That's the simplest way to put it. So I think I realized that I was always saying, oh, it's such a bad day. This happened and it's so bad. Or this person did this and it's so bad. I think I was leading from a place of, this is all happening to me. I'm a victim of my circumstances. Whereas I think learning my power again, discovering my power again, knowing that I can create my path, my future, I think that made me feel like I have a say. And my circumstances don't define the outcome, always. So I think that was a huge thing with law of attraction being the primary source of my thought process in that direction. There's a lot more. There's the fundamental understanding that what you focus on grows. If something happens to you, instead of putting it immediately in the bad category or the good category, and then sort of reacting to that, you do realize that if you focus on something that isn't a good experience for you, you are going to magnify that. So it's a choice. It's up to you to see something, to experience something, but not necessarily indulge in it, focus on it, and then sort of just stew in it until that becomes your reality, on a more permanent basis. So of course, I think for me the the thing that changed my life was to know a couple of things. I think something that I used to believe in, even from the time when I won Miss Sri Lanka, was that what your mind can conceptualize and believe it can achieve, and that is by Napoleon Hill. And that's something I think I kind of just forgot along the way. Honestly, there's no better way to put it. I just plain forgot. And so if something is in your imagination, if you're thinking about something, dreaming about something, that's already in existence. So all you have to do is raise your vibration, your frequency, to match the vibration and frequency of what it is that you want, and then it is yours. It's as simple as that. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of work to be done. There's a little bit of understanding to be obtained around that topic, but in the simplest sense, that's all law of attraction is, just matching the vibration of who you are to what you want. Because let me remind you, you attract what you are, not what you want. So if you're here sad and crying and you want a really happy, joyful life, it's just not going to align. So I think realizing all of these things, it's not even a choice at that point. Do I just sit here and sulk and be unhappy about 2020 and about the challenges that we're going through, the virus and all the negative things that are happening around us? Or do we focus on the good things that are happening? Because like I always believed, there's a lot of hardship in the world, and there's a lot of overcoming of it as well. Which do we decide to focus on? Which do we decide to magnify? I think another thing that really helped me this year was finding my creative outlets, all of it. So I read, I wrote, I made style videos, even though it was really embarrassing because nobody in Sri Lanka was doing it yet. And I was like, I have to do it. I absolutely have to do it because it's something I enjoy so much. So I led from a place of passion and enjoyment. Do I love doing this? Then that's what I'm going to do. You don't necessarily have to hold yourself back because of what people will say. If you want to take a step forward to find your joy, to do something that sets your soul on fire, like in a good way, then that's what you should do. Else, do what feels good to you. Your emotions are your guides. Anything that makes you feel happy and excited and thrilled and good and joyful, that's what you should be following. All right, so another thing this year that I think a lot of us discovered, and I did as well, is tapping into new skills, new learnings, new passions. Of course, out of necessity, I began my journey in cooking. Loved it, learned a lot. I think I became a very competent, what I like to call a domestic goddess. I can only cook like 6 things, guys, but it's 6 more things that I used to cook. Just trying to make do with what we had and cutting away with stuff that we think we need but don't. So it's stuff like that. So learning new skills was a big thing for me. It's something that changed me from the inside out because there's still a lot to learn, I realized. Of course, took up learning a language, using an app. So I'm learning French. I can say a couple of words now. No, I can say a lot more than a couple of words now. But yeah, stuff like that. And photography. I used to love taking photos, like being in them, but then just trying to like figure out how to take great photos as well. Loved that. Just loved creating content all my life, and to put that into actual action and to create content. Even my YouTube journey started this year. So it's just a lot of new skills. I never knew how to edit a video. When I started doing style videos, I didn't even know like how to split and cut and merge and how to put music into the background. And as you know, now I'm pretty good at it. So it's just learning. There is so much to learn. This year I was, like I said, going through extreme emotional turmoil. Didn't think I could get up, didn't think I could last another day, fight another day. But I started my last subject of my CIM. I started that, and I got the best results that I've ever gotten in any of my subjects in CIM. never expected it. I invested myself in a place where I could, given the circumstances. Just because we can't go out, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this. We are all about can't all the time. What can we do? Do we ever ask this question from ourselves? Most of us do, maybe. Some of us don't. So to those of us who don't, I want to just encourage you to ask yourself the question all of the time, what can I do? What are my options? Don't start from a place of we can't, we don't have it, it's not possible. What can you do? So I became a little bit more solution focused rather than problem focused. So that's again another learning, another thing that really propelled me to the rest of my life. So the final thing that transformed my life this year was the fact that I learned to clear out my space, inner and outer. So your mental space, like I said, it takes daily work to keep it in balance, to keep it in in a very organized manner. If you let it kind of pile up, like I said before, it does tend to get too much in the end. It's like a house. If you look at your body and your mind and your soul as the space that you live in, the space that you occupy, which is the truth of it, we don't tend to clean it as often. We don't tend to pay attention to it that much. So that's something I think we need to kind of look into as well. And so just from an inside perspective, what are some core beliefs that I have that aren't serving me? Do I believe I'm not worthy? Do I believe I'm not enough? Do I believe I'm ugly? Do I believe I'm fat? Do I believe I'm not capable? What are some blocks that you have? So this year for me was about looking really hard at them and removing those blocks one by one. Okay? And you'll also have things that you need to clean up in your outer space, in your environment, and these can be people, things, circumstances. Okay, even look around your house and see if it's neat and tidy. If it's not, every time you see that space, you're going to not have a really amazing feeling, a really positive feeling. So clean up the immediate space that you occupy outside of your body, right? That's one. And the people around you, are they toxic people? Are you involved in any toxic cycles? Are you involved in any kind of relationship, friendship, acquaintances, anything, workspace even, that isn't providing you growth? If it isn't, then it's time to withdraw from that slowly. Not immediately cut people off, cut things off, but just remove yourself slowly. And ask the universe or your God or your faith or anything to help you grow, to direct you onto a path of growth. Because I believe that's why we're here, to grow. So in that sense, I think just the idea of having toxic people in your life, negative people in your life, people who drain your energy, people who aren't aligned with you. For example, if you have core values, things that you like, a path that you're following, and there are people who are completely opposite to that, there's a clash. You're pulling in this direction, they're pulling in that direction. It's difficult. It's not impossible to have this friendship, but it is difficult. So make yourself so wonderfully authentic, and your truth will shine so bright. You will only attract people who are aligned with that. They will even push you in the direction that you want to go in. So it's all of you. It's like your vibe attracts your tribe. It's that simple. So I think honestly this year it taught me a lot. It taught me the concept. I am a psych graduate, as you know. And I learned the concept of fight or flight fairly early. I think I learned that properly this year. To be alone in a house for months at a time, completely alone. That really teaches you who you are. And I think I learned who I am. I am not sitting here speaking as a person who's perfect. I am speaking as a person who is so flawed, so imperfect. And that is why my journey to me has been interesting and inspirational, is because I'm an imperfect person trying to find my way. I'm an imperfect person trying to grow. And I value and I appreciate everybody who have taught me something. I don't think I will look at my life in the same way again. I don't think I'll look at myself in the same way again. I will never look at myself as a victim again, because everything we are and everything we have around us, we've attracted. Don't sit there blaming yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying taking accountability and change. If you don't like something, change, and change is very, very much possible. So that's it, guys. Me and my new mug are going to step into the new year with an absolute life high, because that's the only thing I want to ever get high on is life, is just this pure joy of being alive in this moment. Lead from a place of gratitude. Do 2 things this year. Start a gratitude journal, guys. Start a gratitude journal where you write down every wonderful thing that happens to you, even if it's teeny tiny weeny. Write 5 things down that are amazing in your day, things that you're grateful for in your day, and write 3 things down underneath it that are your wish list, but you write it as though you already have it. So 3 things that are constant, you write them every single day. They don't change until you've achieved one of those things. And the other 5, you keep changing them. If you want to write 10, go ahead and write 10. But a gratitude journal, guys, is a must. It's a must. You need to absolutely have it. It will remind you of how blessed you are, no matter how challenging you think your life is. The other thing is, start journaling, start scripting. If you want something, start writing a script for it. If you want something, start focusing on it. If you don't want something, remove your focus from that. Focus on what you want. Remember, you attract who you are, not what you want. So that's it. This is a very, very exciting year. This is going to be a phenomenal new beginning, a new dawn, and I wish you nothing but the best. I hope to see you in my next video, something hopefully really fun as well. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you next time. Much love.